Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Box Office Talk. This is the show where I break down what happened at the box office, see if my predictions for the top 5 are correct, and then make predictions for next week's top 5. So let's get right on into it. Last week I predicted that number 1 would be Aquaman, number 2 would be Mary Poppins Returns, number 3 would be Bumblebee, number 4 would be Escape Room, and number 5 would be Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse. And I only got 1 out of 5 of my predictions right for this weekend. That's right, in a weekend where there was only one new release, I got only 1 out of 5 of my predictions right, which is kind of embarrassing, and the obvious one that I got right was Aquaman still remains the champ, who's staying at number 1, making $30 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $259 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $940 million. So even though domestically, it just outgrossed Justice League and still has a ways to go until it outgrosses the other DC films, worldwide, it has already done that. It is like $70 million ahead of every other DC film before. It's fast-tracking its way to $1 billion, and this is going to remain the highest-grossing DC film for at least a while. I don't know how good the chances are for Shazam becoming the highest-grossing DC film. I highly doubt it, but for a while it's going to be Aquaman, and that's actually pretty good for a fun movie that it is. Number 2 was surprisingly Escape Room, which I didn't think would actually make it this high, but it did. It made $18 million, which is exactly doubling its $9 million budget. So you know how I talked about in my review that sequel bait ending? Chances are we are definitely going to get that sequel now, because we don't have any worldwide numbers out yet, but it has already doubled its budget and probably will continue to triple, maybe quadruple it in the next couple weeks. So that's actually a pretty good win for Sony right there. Like honestly, I'm shocked that this movie did as well as it did, and that it was able to get ahead of movies like Mary Poppins Returns, which is at number 3. Even though these movies are still doing pretty well. Mary Poppins making $15 million, adding to a domestic total of $138, $10 million ahead of Rob Marshall's last musical Into the Woods, by the way, and worldwide it is sitting at $257 million. So $3 million away from actually doubling its $260 million budget, which is what I've been waiting for a long time. I'm so happy that this film is actually about to double its budget finally, because I love it so much. And also number 4, still doing very well, Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse, making $13 million, adding to a domestic total of $133 million, and on the worldwide chart it is sitting at $275 million, which is about $95 million over its doubling point for its budget, which is spectacular. It's about to get to $300 million worldwide, and I'm hoping that eventually it might be able to slowly build to $200 million domestically. It's very unlikely-ish, but you never really know. I'm just really holding out hope. Also, number 5, Bumblebee. Though domestically it is still a little behind, only making $12 million, adding to a domestic total of $97 million, $3 million away from $100 million. Worldwide, it is already at $289 million. This movie really has jumped ahead in the past couple weeks, which is very good. It needed to get to $270 million to double its $135 million budget, and it has gotten $19 million over that doubling point. It's $11 million away from getting to $300 million worldwide, which I'm hoping is good enough for Paramount and Lorenzo Di Bonaventura to want to make more Transformers films set in this new Bumblebee universe. I'm really pleading that this is the case, because this movie's actually doing pretty well for itself now that a couple weeks has gone by. Number 6, we have The Mule, which still doesn't have a worldwide total, but domestically it is still slowly getting up to at least $100 million, which is exactly what it needs to double its budget. It made $9 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $81 million. So it needs $19 million more dollars in order to get to $100 million in total, and I think domestically it's going to slow down a bit. I'm not sure if it's going to get to exactly 100 billion, but maybe worldwide there will be some numbers that push it over that limit. So I think this movie's doing pretty well for itself. Number 7, we have Vice, making $5 million, adding to a domestic total of $29 million. This is still not very good, but we got to take into consideration that Oscar nominations will probably be coming out soon, and more award stuff. Maybe domestically more people will want to go. Worldwide, though, is where I'm going to see the biggest drawback, I think, because I don't know how many people worldwide are going to want to see a movie about Dick Cheney, which is a little bit more US kind of based, you know what I mean? So I'm not really sure how well this movie's going to do in the long run. Number 8, we have Second Act, which has actually been able to make quite a bit of money, making $4.9 million, adding to a domestic total of $32, and on the worldwide chart it is sitting at $39 million. I remember when I used to think that this movie wasn't going to hold out well over the holiday season, and I was wrong, as I kind of usually am on this show, but I'm glad that there's some success to be found with this film. I haven't seen it, of course, but I think some people are out there enjoying it, some J-Lo fans probably, so at least they have this win for them. Number 9 is Ralph Breaks the Internet, making $4.6 million, adding to a domestic total of $187 million, which is $2 million away from outgrossing the first Wreck-It Ralph film domestically, which finally I was a little worried that maybe it wasn't going to do it for a bit, but it's about to, and worldwide it is sitting at $404 million, so it's doubled its $175 million budget, made $54 million over that, and it only needs about $67 million more till it outgrosses the first movie worldwide, which it might be able to do considering the recent traction worldwide with this film, which I've been predicting for quite some time. And finally, closing out the video, number 10, Holmes and Watson. This movie I don't think is going to hold up well at all. It made only $3 million, will probably drop because of the negative buzz, adding to a domestic total of $28 million, and worldwide, not even that is saving it. It's only at $35 million. So, I'm sorry, Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly, but it looks like your reunion after Step Brothers and Talladega Nights, it might not have been the one. But now it's time for the fun part, the predictions for next week's top 5. Number 1, I'm going with Aquaman. Number 2, The Upside. Number 3, A Dog's Way Home. Number 4, Escape Room. And number 5, Mary Poppins Returns. But what are your predictions for next week's top 5? Leave it in the comments below, and if you got your predictions right for this week, you're getting it a shout out right now. Unless you didn't get it right, then I'm sorry. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.